Welcome back. In this section, we're going to get a brand new WordPress site set up and ready to design on a live online server. Now, to develop and publish a website online, there are two things that you will need that cost a little money: a domain name and a hosting plan. We'll cover both of these in this section as well. If you want to develop your site for free right on your computer without needing a hosting plan or an internet connection every time you sit down to design, skip this section and watch the section before this one called Local Offline Setup. In this section, we'll be learning how to set up a hosting account with SiteGround, register a domain name or link an existing domain name to our hosting account, configure our server and install WordPress, and secure our site by installing an SSL certificate. One quick note: there are countless services and ways to obtain a domain name and hosting plan. I've included a list in the resources PDF, but for this course, I'm going to walk you through the service I prefer to use called SiteGround. SiteGround is the simplest, easiest, and most affordable way to get started developing WordPress sites online, which is why we're using it in this section. To access SiteGround, click the link in the helper text below or visit siteground.com. Now, you don't need to use SiteGround, but if you find another solution, the process of getting set up might look just a little different. All right, if you're ready to develop online, head to the next video where we'll set up our own online space to host our website. See you then. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to get our hosting account set up so we can begin designing our WordPress website online. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, there are many different hosting providers out there, but for this project, we're going to be using SiteGround. To get started, we're here on siteground.com, and we can see right at the top of the page a couple different options for getting started with a hosting plan. We're going to click the Managed WordPress Hosting Plan and click Get Started. Now here we can see there are three different tiers of WordPress hosting. Since this is a simple site and we aren't expecting a lot of visitors, at least to begin with, we'll click the Startup Plan for $6.99 a month. Now, depending on when you take this course, these prices may be different, and what we're actually seeing here is the price of an annual plan per month, so we'll see these prices change a little bit as well in the coming windows. Now, we're going to use the Startup Plan because it's the most basic plan for this project. If you're building a big site for a big company, you may want to research and consider the other two options. But we'll click Get Plan right here under the Startup. All right, now that we've chosen our plan, we have a couple options as to how we want to handle our domain name. We can use SiteGround to register a new domain here, or we can register a domain somewhere else and simply point it to this website when it's ready. Now, if you're going to have a large collection of domains over time and build many websites, I recommend registering them all at the same place so you only have one place to go to manage renewing them and managing them. Popular domain registrars include GoDaddy, Domain.com, HostGator, Namecheap. There's a lot of them, and it doesn't really matter which one you pick. But I would go with one of those if you're going to collect a lot of domain names. Now, if you're not going to collect a lot of domain names and you're just watching this course and developing one website, you can actually register right here, and it's a lot easier. You can see it's $15.95 per year, and that just gets added on to your hosting bill. Now, I already own the domain that we're going to use for the sample project in this site, and that domain is moverestrepeat.com. So I'll type it here, and I'll click Proceed. All right, and now all that's left is to create our account and pay for our plan. This is just like signing up for any online account, so I'll quickly enter the info here. All right, and now down here's what I was talking about regarding the purchase price. So we're on the startup plan, and our data center is automatically selected based on where we are. So if you're somewhere else in the world, you may see something different there. And here under period, we can actually pick what kind of plan we want to buy and how much we want to pay in advance. So if we buy the 12 months at a time, that is the best deal, and we get that original price of $6.99 a month. But the bill right now is $83.88. Again, these prices may change depending on when you watch this course. I'm actually going to go just for the 1 month plan, and I'm willing to pay a little extra for that. You choose what works best for you. I'm going to ignore any other offers down here. I'm going to confirm to their terms of service, and I'll go ahead and sign up for their mailing list, and then I'll click Pay Now. All right, and my order was successfully submitted, and my account was created. So let's click here and proceed to the customer area. All right, and this is where SiteGround really shines. This is really easy to get set up so we can get to designing our site even faster. So let's click Set Up Site. We'll set up a new site. And here we can click WordPress. We'll set up a login with our email address and password. Hit Continue. Again, we'll skip the extras here. Click Finish. And SiteGround's creating our WordPress website. Now, depending on your internet connection and how fast their servers are running at the moment, this could take a couple minutes, so we'll just wait till it gets done. All right, and our website's been set up. Now, since we chose a domain name that we own and have registered somewhere else, we'll see these instructions here to point our domain. We're going to cover this in a future video. But for right now, let's click Manage Site. All right, and here we are at the Site Tools dashboard. This is where we can manage our WordPress installation, set up email accounts, look at analytics for our site, and a host of other things. This will kind of be the home page for us on SiteGround as we continue on developing our site. In the next video, we're going to talk about security for our site and get that set up before we start designing. See you then. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to work on the security settings of our website to make sure that we can show our visitors with this little padlock up here that our site is secure and safe for them to use. Now, one important note, if you own a domain outside of SiteGround like we do for this course, go ahead and skip to the next video first to learn how to point that domain to our SiteGround website. Then, after you've done that, come on back and watch this video. All right, so whether we bought our domain with SiteGround or had it registered somewhere else and now have it pointed here, the first thing we need to do is make sure our site is secure. We do that by coming over to the Security tab and clicking SSL Manager. Now, we've talked about SSL before. SSL is what enables this little padlock to show up next to our domain name in a browser bar to let our visitors know that our site is secure. This is done using a certificate that behind the scenes verifies our server. To install an SSL certificate on our site, SiteGround makes it real easy. Let's go here. Our domain is already selected. We'll go over to Select SSL and click Let's Encrypt. Then we'll say Get. Now SiteGround will begin the process of installing our SSL certificate. This may take a while, so just sit back and relax, and we'll let this finish. All right. And we're finished installing our SSL certificate. Now it's asking us to configure HTTPS, which means we'll need to log into our WordPress site. So, to log into your WordPress site and start designing and working on it, let's open a new tab, type in moveREST-repeat.com/wp-login.php. Now, this is an important address you're going to want to write down or copy paste into your notes because you'll be using it every time you need to log in to your site. So let's hit enter. And here's the WordPress login screen. Now here you'll use the credentials you created earlier in your SiteGround setup to log into your WordPress site. You can click Remember Me and then click Login. Now here we see the SiteGround WordPress Starter, which is a little shortcut kit they've created to help you customize your site right off the bat. Since we'll be designing our site from scratch, we're actually going to click Exit and skip this. And here we are in the WordPress dashboard. We'll be exploring this in depth in a future section, so for right now, let's just finish setting up our security. We'll come over here to SG Optimizer and click that. Now we'll click Environment Optimization and this first option to enable HTTPS. Let's hit Confirm. And now we have security enabled on our site. Don't worry about any of these other options, and again, we'll be exploring this dashboard in detail in a future section. So let's go up here and click Visit Site. We'll reload, and there we go. We now have a secure WordPress installation ready to start designing. I hope that wasn't too hard to follow along. I know there's lots of different options and confusing computer terms and all kinds of different things involved in setting up a new website. But believe me, this is by far the path of least resistance, and in just a few videos, we now have our site ready to go. If you've chosen a different hosting platform or a different place to manage your domain names and run into trouble, don't hesitate to write your questions in the forum or just go on Google and search for what you're trying to do. There's plenty of websites containing guides for everything we've done for all the different hosts and domain registrars. For the rest of this course, we're going to be developing our site offline, but don't worry, WordPress will look virtually the same, and we'll all wind up in the same place with a beautiful site for the world to see. So if things look a little bit different here or there, don't worry, just follow along. All the core functionality will stay the same. And believe me, you've done all the hard work right now. When you choose to develop online and then you're ready to launch to the world, it's literally done in just a click. So take a quick break and join me back here soon as we jump into WordPress and learn all about the WordPress dashboard, how it works, and how it's structured for us to use best to design our site. See you then. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to get our domain that we own somewhere else set up and pointing to our SiteGround website. Now this might look a little confusing, but just hang in there, follow along, and you'll have it set up in no time. Let's get started. Now I'm here at the SiteGround Site Tools dashboard, and if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see here under Site Information, this section called IP and Name Servers. Name servers are addresses we can use to tell our domain where our server is. Now to change the name server of your domain, you'll need to go to the site where you have your domains registered. Now these all look a little bit different, but for this video, we'll use the moverestrepeat.com domain that I own through GoDaddy. So we'll go over here to our GoDaddy dashboard, and we can see here in my list of domains, moverestrepeat.com. Now again, if you have your domain registered somewhere else, it might look a little different, but what we're looking for here is the ability to edit our DNS settings for our domain. So let's click on that. And here we'll see a list of our DNS records. Let's scroll down. Most registrars have a section called Name Servers. Here we see that we can easily change our name servers to match those from SiteGround. So let's click Change. And here we see GoDaddy giving us a link to a website we might have built with them or somewhere else. We'll actually go down here and just enter our own. So here are two spots. Domains have two name servers usually. So let's go back to SiteGround. And copy this first one. Now we don't need this number at the end, just this URL looking thing. Copy that. Come over here, paste it in. Let's go back and get the second one. Now if your domain manager asks for IP addresses instead, that's when you would paste in these two numbers instead of these addresses. So here on GoDaddy, we're fine to paste in these addresses, and let's click Save. All right, and I've updated my name servers. All right, let's go back to SiteGround. Now it takes anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours for these name servers to adjust and for our domain to point directly to our website. So if yours doesn't work right away, don't worry, give it several hours and come back and try again. Now that you have your domain that you have managed somewhere else pointing to your SiteGround site, go ahead and go back to the previous video where we'll continue getting our site ready by setting up all of the security settings we need to have a really secure WordPress website. See you then.